To understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
You have failed this city.
So I have this thing with rolls?
Just the end of the world.
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
You're the boy from the circus.
I started up a security firm.
Finally, a superhero team I can actually get behind.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DCTV report for the week ending Saturday, January 4th, 2020. I'm Little Eddie O'Hare.
And I'm Sarah Netsley, academic by day, writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have no new episodes for you, but we do have a very cool retro pick. And Ed, how did it feel to say 2020?
It felt good. New year starting, it's my birthday in 6 days.
Ooh.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, big birthday plans?
Not really. I usually go into the city, watch a couple foreign movies.
That's the most Ed answer I've ever heard.
And probably have dinner back at the house. May invite my cousin Pete over. Who knows?
So this is how you and I are different, because I feel like for mine it'll be like, I'm gonna meet the girls for margaritas, and then that's not actually what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
But
does your mom still bake you a cake?
Yes, she does. I'm lucky to have a mom who lives close by, and she does. She's a good woman. She's a saint. Well, happy early birthday, Ed.
Oh, well, thank you.
And probably next week I'll wish you a happy late birthday. It's just how we roll here.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. How was your New Year?
It was very nice. I went to a very fun Roaring 20s party. We played movie trivia. My team lost. I'm still a little angry about it.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those shout out the answers, and they kept declaring things were a tie. They weren't a tie. I got there first. It's just that maybe I wasn't as aggressive as I should have been. But it's okay. We're friends. It was a friendly game.
Mm-hmm. Were you dressed as a flapper?
I did have. There was a lot of fringe at that party. Yes, I was dressed as like a flapper's disapproving older sister. I feel like my hemline was a little longer than that. I was like, But
okay.
All the men were in various states of looking normal, but with dumb hats, or all out with the garters and the suspenders and the arm garters. So it was a good time. And yes, we all know the 20s were a horrible time for the economy, for civil rights, for all that. Nobody wants to go back to the Roaring 20s, but the fashions were fun for a night. So. And we had pheasant, which was, I guess, food they ate at the time, and it was delicious. I'd never had pheasant before, so I guess I'm a pheasant person now.
I guess I'm a pheasant person.
You're serving chicken? What is this garbage? Pheasant or get out.
Wow. Was it gamey? Was it? Oh.
No, it was flavorful. It was really good. I'm telling you, your life will change. Try the pheasant.
Try the pheasants. All right, that was in. Okay, I'll even write that down as the episode title right now.
I'm a pheasant person now.
All right. So, it's another week of no DC TV, but we do have a cool retro pick for you. But before that, let's jump right into the news.
Yeah, let's do it. We actually have some. I was surprised after a holiday week. But let's start with Arrow and the Canaries spinoff.
Okay.
So we've got a little bit of information about the episode coming up on Arrow that's serving as a backdoor pilot for the as yet untitled Canaries spinoff. And that description goes a little like this. It's the year 2040 in Star City, and Mia Queen has everything she could ever have wanted. However, when Laurel and Dinah suddenly show up in her life again, things take a shocking turn, and her perfect world is upended. So a couple things notable there. She's going by Mia Queen, so that's noteworthy. And she has a perfect life and everything she ever wanted, which is weird because I thought both her parents were dead. So that seems less than ideal, but it does indicate that, we are going to fix the timeline, I would think. So Laurel and Dinah drag her into finding a kidnapping victim, and it's going to change everything, and she's going to suit up and be the hero she wants to be, and that is going to usher in a female-led superhero show for the CW that I wish I felt more excited about.
Yeah. I just don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
We were skeptical about Pennyworth, and that turned out to be great. So, let's... Is our word for 2020 optimism, Ed? I don't know. It could be.
Yeah. Why not? Let's be optimistic. I will say, I will agree with you. The one thing I think this does say is that the events of Crisis will most likely reset the timeline. So, let's hope it's a little brighter.
I feel a little bad for the CW because they have to, sort of promo their upcoming shows, and they're going to not spoil Crisis, but, obviously Black Lightning's family is not going to stay dead. So you're going to have, so what are you going to do?
All right. What's up next?
Up next is Supergirl. The title for the January 19th episode, the first episode back in the new year, is The Bottle Episode.
Ooh.
Which I at first was like, oh, fun, a bottle episode. But the article at Comic Book Resources got to, I think, probably where Ed got right away, which is maybe not an actual bottle episode. Maybe we're going to talk about or visit Kandor.
The Bottle City of Kandor.
Which I only know about because of Krypton. So thank you, Krypton, R.I.P.
Yes. Oh, man. The Bottle City of Kandor. This could be so fun.
And also fun, it guest stars Megan Rath, the sister of Jesse Rath, who plays Brainy. She will be playing a female version of Brainiac 5, and I like Megan Rath very much. I like the possibility of that storyline very much, because Jesse Rath is one of my favorite things about Supergirl, so I am super excited for that show to come back on the 19th post-Crisis.
Cool. All right.
Moving on to Black Lightning. The new book that we're entering is called The Book of Markovia when it comes back. So I guess that's still going on. And it is going to deal with Lynn's addiction issues. So I guess that is still going on.
Okay. Sarah?
Yeah.
Please tell me this is not going to be like the storyline on Arrow where Laurel became an alcoholic.
I had managed to put that out of my head. But it is. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm fairly sure it is. Apparently, she's going to become obsessed with the Pod Kids, which I thought she already was. So I don't know. It's going to get worse. I feel like it's going to be bad, Ed. I feel like I'm not going to enjoy it.
Ugh. Okay. All right. I mean, at least they kicked the ASA out, right? Or they were about to. I don't know.
But what if Crisis we don't know. We don't know.
Mm-hmm. Isn't Wayne Brady supposed to show up sometime in the show?
Oh, I'm just confusing him for swapping in for Hamilton in Chicago on Chicago theater. Yeah, you're right. Wayne Brady is played as a villain, right? So that's gotta happen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he leads the Markovians. I don't know. Not really. He's
maybe. Just I could use some Wayne Brady. Just saying.
Fair. So yeah, that's the Black Lightning news. Moving on to news for a show we haven't talked much about. DMZ.
DMZ.
As a reminder, DMZ is being developed for HBO by Ava DuVernay, and it was announced this week that former Comics Alliance editor-in-chief Laura Hudson has joined the writing team. This is noteworthy because Laura Hudson had accused the DMZ series creator Brian Wood of sexual assault that happened many years before when she was working in a comic book store. She put the story out there during the Me Too kind of wave in actually earlier this last year, 2019, and it brought her work to the attention of Ava DuVernay, the showrunner, who loved what Laura Hudson did and hired her to be a staff writer. So that is wild. that is quite a story for how she got that job. So yeah, DMZ.
Wow. That's
yes.
Wow. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a obviously it's an accusation. So, you know, I don't know anything about the backstory there and the history and how that all played out. This was the first I heard about it in this news story, but very cool ending for her to end up writing for the HBO show. So yeah. Last bit of news for the week: Lucifer.
Ooh.
The showrunners say they would like to use this final season to explore what hasn't happened yet between Lucifer and Chloe. So they kind of asked themselves, you know, last season, what haven't we seen yet? Let's do it. Some things spring to my mind. Sex, yeah. I'm talking about sex.
oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Were you...
I thought maybe they were going to cook together. I don't know.
Go out for sushi. Some nice sushi.
No, Lucifer's had sushi. Let's see if he let's see if he can pan fry a salmon. I'd like to see that.
I actually would like to see that. You joke. But yeah, I mean, like move in together, try to cohabitate. I mean, there's all kinds of fun things you could kind of do with the final season there. So. Of course, I'm just talking about all the relationship-y things. I assume there's other things. Pan fry a salmon, very high up there.
Yeah.
Can he cook a pheasant? Let's find out. That's it. That's it for the news.
Okay. Yeah, let's see Lucifer drive Trixie to her soccer game, and then get her over to karate at the same in the same day, huh?
With that traffic, with the LA traffic, it's murder. Like, how's he gonna? It's gonna be awful.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's see him go crazy in LA traffic.
Into it.
Without his powers. All right. That's the news. Wow. That's it for the news. All right.
That's it for the news.
All right. So I guess that means now we're moving on to our retro pick. Wow. We're going back in time to February 20th, 1991. Sarah, this is The Flash. Season 1, Episode 14, Be My Baby. Barry took in a young mother and her baby girl and got to show off his childcare skills. Stacy and baby Lily were on the run from Lily's very handsome but anal-retentive sociopath of a father and his henchmen, who included maniac cop himself, Robert Zadar. Last-minute reveal, baby Lily started talking and called Barry Flash.
So I will admit, Ed, about halfway through this episode, Jason looks over at me and says, "Did you pick this?" And I said, "No, Ed did." Was Ed messing with us? It was when Barry was in the room of wailing infants. And
Yes.
where were the other mothers or adults? Like, I don't mean to shame any parenting, but why was Barry alone in a room with 8 kids when there's a house full of adults? What?
Because we didn't want to pay any more extras and
and the humor.
yes.
So this was wild. This was my first time watching The Flash from the 90s. I assume you had seen it before.
Yes. Yeah. I had a very vague memory of it as a child, and I did rewatch it when it came out on DVD about 10 years ago.
It was different.
Yes, very different speed, very different. There's no team, Barry actually works at the police precinct, and we see him working. And there are only, John Wesley Shipp plays Barry Allen, aka the Flash, and there are only 2 other credited regulars, who are Amanda Pays, who plays Christina McGee, the Star Labs scientist who insists that she is not his girlfriend, and Alex Desert, who plays Julio Mendez. I know him as the blind guy from Becker.
I know him as Jeremy Piven's friend from PCU.
Yes.
And Swingers. He's done a lot of Jean Favreau adjacent work, apparently.
Yes, he's the black guy in Swingers. And who's just Barry's buddy in the CSI lab. And you do have a couple of other recurring guest stars like Vito D'Ambrosio and Biff Mannard, who play police officers Bellows and Murphy, who are kind of like comic relief. And Priscilla Pointer, who plays Nora Allen, Barry's mom, who, yes, is alive.
I was surprised she was alive, I have to admit.
Yeah, because that thing was something that Jeff Johns came up with in the aughts. So that actually whole storyline wasn't really established in the comics.
Huh. Okay,
so
that's good to know.
Barry grew up with his parents. But I think the real standouts here are the guest stars, who include Kimberly Neville as Stacy. I will refer to her as Discount Brooke Shields.
Great value, Brooke Shields.
Yes, and Robert Zadar, of course, many people know him from Maniac Cop. He was a mainstay in not even B movies, like C movies from the 80s and 90s. He was the big guy with that enormous jawline. And he played in a lot of like discount direct to video, like Roger Corman type movies. And a little guy who kind of had a career after this, mainly in like as a recurring guest star on Seinfeld, by the name of Bryan Cranston. Sarah, are you familiar with this guy?
Bryan, is he? Oh! He was the dad on Malcolm in the Middle, right?
Yes, he
was.
Had
a great career in comedy. Yeah.
Yes. This was him taking a little bit of a dramatic turn earlier in his career.
He was good. I hope somebody casts him in a dramatic role someday. I think he could be really, really excellent. I gotta say, it took me a second. Because he looks so different. He's so handsome. Not that he's not, you know what I'm saying? He's just so young.
Yes. I was very excited to hear your reaction to young, handsome, sexy Bryan Cranston.
He was all those things. Also, I have to say, I have never agreed with a villain more than when he's like, would please somebody shut that baby up? Yes, Bryan Cranston. Do what you need to do to shut that baby up. I am very pro-villain in this scenario.
Yeah, so he plays Philip Moses, who's he's a psycho. Who's brilliant, and it kind of did sort of like a Lex Luthor Ozymandias thing where it's like, yeah, I want to have a kid, but I don't really want to do any of the work.
So he bought himself a perfect breeding specimen, basically.
Yeah.
So Dad's a Nobel Prize winner. Mom's an Olympic medalist. He finds this woman. They have a kid.
Yeah, I mean, this is a horrible thing I'm about to say, and I don't really believe this, but you almost kind of want to go to Stacy and go, "Hey, what happened? What's going on?"
I feel the same when she's just like, "I'll just get by on my own." At the end, like, where are your Nobel Prize Olympic winning parents? Like, what happened? Also, is that what passes for an unfit junkie mother in the 90s? Because she was real clean and very covered in cloth. Shiny bouncy hair. This was a very strange backstory for her. I'm not sure what off-brand Brooke Shields had done wrong in her life, but yikes.
Yeah, and this is something with 90s Flash as opposed to current Flash, is that, Barry's really the only one with superpowers. There's no metahuman deal. These are more grounded, I mean, this could have been an episode. If you take the superpowers out of it, this could have been an episode of any regular cop show, I think.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And honestly, I'm not even sure. I don't even know that Barry needed to have superpowers for this. And yeah, he did push that dude into a plane. So, that was fun to see.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was just childcare and crib building. So
yeah. And there are some episodes of the season where he does face comic villains. Famously, Mark Hamill played the Trickster. You also get Captain Cold and Mirror Master. But I feel like that was at a point where the producers were initially kind of didn't want to seem cheesy, so they kind of shied away from the comic book villains. And then when the ratings started to slip, they decided to lean into that and found that it was working. But by that time, the ratings just weren't high enough and the show was too expensive. And that's why it only lasted one season.
Pour one out.
Mm-hmm. But, I think I think you did have some good old fashioned sitcom fun. I thought it was very interesting how at the beginning of the episode, Barry is great with the kid. And then he gets alone with it, and his and Tina just basically they become terrible parents. They have no idea what to do.
Yeah, it was like they regressed. I also super loved Barry's mom chiding him for for using plastic diapers. You should be using cloth, should you?
It's the 90s, where it's like, no, 20 years later, we would never even think of using cloth diapers. It's like, what are you, rich? Come on.
I also loved that Tina knows Barry's the Flash, but hasn't met his mother. I feel like that should be reversed, shouldn't it?
Well, she's insisting that she's not his girlfriend, even though she's going over his house that night to watch a movie.
The Guns of Navarone on Laserdisc. 90s things I loved about this. The Laserdisc. I also super loved, it was a very, very fast reference, but I think it was his buddy Alex Desire who played who again? What was his name? Julio. Who said, "Yeah, we have to go downstairs for the federal link up." That blew my mind because, of course, I'm married to a criminal justice major. Mm-hmm. The linkage blindness was a big problem before we had actual computers that talk to one another. And so that's how serial killers were able to operate effectively in different states, because you didn't have interstate link ups for crime databases and things. And so you had to actually work to tap into a larger database for information about crimes and things. So anyway, that was just a very passing reference that I was like, oh, that's so cool. That was a real law enforcement problem in the 90s that we don't have anymore. And they just really matter-of-factly dropped that in. I thought that was kind of a fun look at the era. Yeah.
I also love the late 80s, early 90s thing of Barabons of the bad guy.
I know.
This and Die Hard are the two references where Barabons are the big deal. And of course they go
I don't know,
flying all over.
They get shredded. They just get shredded.
Yes, by that point.
I kind of felt bad for Moses there. I feel like Lily maybe, I don't know, let her grow up with the megalomaniac psychopath who has the, how much was it in bearer bonds? 20 billion or whatever? $10
million. $10 million.
Oh, 10 billion, 20 billion, whatever.
Yeah. And, Sarah, you watched this on DC Universe, right?
Yes.
Did it feel like you were missing something? Like, did it start right with the opening credits?
Yes, it did.
Because I watched it first on DC Universe, and then I pulled out my DVDs and noticed that there's a whole 4-minute segment at the beginning of this episode that explains how Stacy came to stay with Barry.
Okay, I was wondering if the Flash did one of those things where they introduced the next episode in the last 5 minutes of the previous episode, because I clearly missed how this strange woman ended up in his house with a baby.
Yeah, so
I thought maybe it had been in the previous episode, but no, it was the pre-credits.
It was the pre-credit sequence, which for some reason they did not include on DC Universe. We should complain. Someone should say something. I don't know.
I'm afraid if you and I complain, they will cancel DC Universe. Honestly, I think that's all it's hanging on to at this point.
So yeah. So I will tell you what happened. So in that episode, it starts with Barry walking up to a pretzel cart. Now, speaking as a native New Yorker, and I guess this is probably true in any American city. If you go up to a hot dog cart or any kind of cart, do you know the rule of thumb with pretzels, Sarah?
No.
Okay, so if the pretzels are on the outside of the cart, don't
eat them.
Don't get them.
Okay.
If he has to,
I assume they have detritus from the city splashed upon them.
Well, I mean, it just because they've been sitting out in the cold all day. Whereas, like, if the guy has to pull them out of something, then they're probably being kept warm. And they're better. So anyway, he walks up to a pretzel cart and and says, "You know what? Let me get a pretzel. Actually, you know what? Let me get a dozen. I need the salt." Because that was like a really big thing with this Flash, is he had to constantly keep eating in order to keep up his energy. If you ever get around to seeing the pilot, there's a point where he just will not stop eating pizza. He has to have something like 10,000 calories a day or something.
So he's Michael Phelps. Got it.
Yeah. And he notices this lady walking by, Stacy walking by with a backpack. And she seems kind of troubled. Oh, and some other guy says something to her and says something mean to her. And like trips her, and Barry kind of helps her up and says, "Hey, I just want to, show you that not every guy in Central City is a jerk." And then that limo shows up, and Roy, the sidekick, and Robert Zadar's character Bodhi show up and chase her into an alley, and the Flash shows up and starts throwing lettuce and tomatoes at Robert Zadar and is able to give Stacy time to run away. And then Barry says, "Hey, let me take you in." And she says, "Oh, thank you. We just need a warm bath and a hot meal." And you find out that there's a baby inside of her backpack.
I'm really sorry I missed that, actually.
Yeah. And what's funny is, like, he's in an alley. It's obviously next to some kind of a restaurant. And, so Barry just picks up all the food and just starts throwing it at Robert Zadar. And then these two cooks walk out and take a look. And Barry doesn't know what to do and just says, "I guess dinner's on him," and then runs away. So yeah. This is what you're missing on DC Universe. Get it together. Come on. But yeah, so just overall impressions. This isn't a great episode, you know. I think it's one of those things like, oh, let's see if Barry and Tina could be parents, and we find out no, they can't. And yeah, it's an interesting storyline. I think the real thing is the guest stars here. And it's interesting only in retrospective, seeing where Bryan Cranston and Robert Zadar went later on.
Yeah, I agreed. The guest star thing was, it was a lot of fun to see early evil Bryan Cranston, and I also just enjoyed the kind of getting a sense of the vibe of the 90s show, because I feel really bad. John Wesley Shipp has been such a regular part of current CW Flash, and this was my first exposure to his show. So that was, I enjoyed seeing where he came from and what the whole vibe was there.
Yeah.
He was handsome. Like he's a bulkier Barry. I'm so used to Grant Gustin, who I think has a great physique for Barry. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But John Wesley Shipp is just a bulkier Barry. So it's just kind of fun to see a whole different take on it.
Yeah. I mean, Grant Gustin's Barry is, has more of like a track build. I always think of him more as like a cross country runner,
like a gazelle.
Yeah, and but yeah, he's nowhere near as nerdy. John Wesley Shipp is more of a dashing leading man, and it's definitely a very different vibe, but still a lot of fun. Yeah, and I'm glad that that this series actually kind of got somewhat of a closure a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, now I'm sadder about what happened on Crisis.
There you go. Yeah. Now, Sarah, I will say, of the 3 shows that we've watched so far, is this the one you find yourself most likely to go back and explore a bit?
Oh no, that's Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay.
I probably. This one, yes, because it's one season and it is the most, I'm using air quotes here, modern. And it probably directly relates a little bit more to the Flash that's on the air now. So actually, in all honesty, yeah, I probably would watch Flash before I'd watch any of the rest of them. But I would definitely like to watch more Wonder Woman just because I'm a Wonder Woman fan. So
cool. All right. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. All right. Is there anything we haven't covered? Anything you think we need to focus on?
We covered everything. I got the Laserdisc stuff in there. That's really all I wanted.
There we go. All right. And so yeah, I guess now it's time for our winners of the week. And I'll go first. Okay. And I think it's pretty obvious. It's Bryan Cranston, but specifically Bryan Cranston's hair, which I think is perfect in this episode. It's like Robert Culp in a Columbo episode. It's just like fantastic. And you like he must have had like, NASCAR pit crews working on that for days.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. My winner of the week is Nora Allen. Hey, you're still alive.
Yeah, and she works at a kid shelter. I think that's the only time we ever see her do that in the show.
Of course. I love 90s shows that just drop in a character or a setting. Yeah, I do this all the time. Never sees it again.
And she gets to scare off Bryan Cranston by mentioning her husband, the ex-policeman.
I feel like Bryan Cranston would have that dude killed. Oh, we forgot the throwing star. It was. At one point, Bryan Cranston's Moses kills a dude with a throwing star to the chest. It's amazing. It looks like it penetrates an inch, and the guy just drops dead. Incredible.
Yeah. Do you think Cranston brought that throwing star on set? Because I
bet he was real method.
I would have believed that was his idea. That. They were like, well, you could shoot him.
Incorporate that into Walter White.
Yeah, you could shoot him. It's like, I want to do something more creative.
Something more in keeping with my character's unpredictable, villainous behavior. How about a throwing star?
This guy wants his bowl of raw vegetables sterilized. He's not just going to have a gun.
That was the most upsetting part of the episode.
Anyway. All right. So those are our winners of the week, and yeah, that's the episode. Short and sweet.
Yeah. That's us. Short and sweet.
Yeah. So now we got to get our retro pick for next week, which is going to be the last retro pick. And it is going to be from a show from the early aughts, 2003, I believe, or 2004 maybe. And it is the Birds of Prey TV show that aired on the CW. Sarah, do you?
I'm so excited. I didn't watch it. I missed it. I was in my doctoral program at that point. Super excited about this.
Cool. And you know what, this show, I was trying to come up with like a specific episode, and 2002, I'm sorry, 2002. And I just figured with this one, cuz it is a little bit complicated and the setup is so interesting. I think we should just do the pilot. Let's just do the first episode of Birds of Prey that aired on the CW in 2002, and it is available on DC Universe. So yeah, check it out there, Birds of Prey. We're gonna watch the pilot episode, season 1, episode 1.
I am into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, and so we'll check that out next week, and that's going to be our last retro pick. Probably for a while, because because we got the Crisis coming back the following week, and then all of the other CW shows will be coming back in force, in just 2 weeks.
Did the microphone just pick up my sigh? I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'm glad they're coming back. I am. It's just, this has been nice.
Yes. All right. And so yeah, that's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Lil Eddie O'Hare.
I'm at Sarah Netzley, SARANETZLEY.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister show, the Wicked Theory Podcast. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam.